Video games have always used visuals. In fact, that's one of the main appeals about them. When I was younger, I used to think video games were all about graphics and looking good. And although that may be the case for some people, that's far from what makes a video game good and fun. As I get older, I realize some of the most important ways video games use visuals are in the small details, like in the color and the representation of symbols. These uses of symbols and color are important in video games to help the player make quick and easy connections and fast decisions. In video games, the color palette is the first impression we get of a game. It can set the whole mood before we even start playing it. Colors are associated with emotions and feelings, and depending on your culture you live in, these can change. This is the basics of color theory. For example, red is associated with anger, and blue is associated with sadness. In video games, these colors are used the same way. Red is for highlighting enemies, dangerous areas, objects that can be blown up, or even health. These all make sense since in the real world, our primitive brains associate red with poisonous animals or plants, and even fire. I think for the representation of health comes from our blood and our heart. It gives life to our body, you know? I think it's safe to say that goes for other colors that are bright and vivid as well, like yellow, pink, orange. And because of these colors, they're bright and vivid, so it's easy to attract attention out of our eyes. Colors blue and green are a lot more calming and can be associated with allies in video games. Blue represents intelligence, and that is why many of the things that represent magic are the color blue, like wizards wearing blue cloaks and hats, or the blue mana bars in video games. Using colors to show how rare an item is was first implemented in the early 90s in Diablo 2. This helped players to decide what item was better without having to look at all the stats. You just know that yellow is better than gray. These are the quick decisions that can be made with the help of color. In Diablo 2, the rarity of items goes gray for normal, blue for magic, yellow for rare, green for set items, and gold for unique. Later in the early 2000s, in World of Warcraft, we would see the rarity progression that we see in most games today. WoW used gray for junk, white for common, green for uncommon, blue for rare, purple for epic, orange for legendary, gold for artifact, and cyan for heirloom. Fortnite follows these colors in rarity, except they leave out white. I think these colors make sense in rarity because they go from most common in nature to least common. This connection of colors and our primitive brain help connect the dots and what the colors mean, and to make those snap decisions that our primitive brain does best for survival. Symbols have great use to lessen the amount of space taken up on screen while still getting the point across. So instead of spelling out health, H-E-A-L-T-H, you can simply use a cross or a heart. For your shield bars, you can simply use a medieval shield. These symbols work great at getting the player to understand what these symbols mean because they're super simple and easily recognizable. For example, the cross represents the Red Cross and hospitals. The shield quite literally represents a medieval shield, meant for protecting the body from harm. Another good example of symbols are the ammo silhouettes in Fortnite. These symbols are on the bottom right of the guns you pick up so that you can easily tell what ammo the gun needs. In a fast-paced battle royale game like Fortnite, you need these symbols to tell you what ammo you need, what the items do, like if they're going to heal you or raise your shields, or if they're traversal or something like that. They don't do it by taking up space on the screen, a lot of space, and it's so that the players can yet again make a split-second decision to survive the game. Using colors and symbols are very important in video games, as they help get information to the players for making split-second decisions. Colors in less photorealistic video games are more bright and vivid, therefore catching the eye of the player, and they're easily decipherable from other colors, so it's easy to know, hey, this one's less rare than this one, this gun's better, you know. But in more photorealistic games, the colors are more dull and less saturated, and they look more like each other and harder to tell apart. Same thing kind of goes with symbols. Less realistic and more basic symbols are great for getting the point across. There's less chance for someone to get confused when looking at them and not understand what they do. So as long as they don't have too much going on, these are good symbols to use to help make split-second decisions. Some of the small details and visuals used in video games are these, the colors and the symbols. The use of simplicity and color theory help connect to the player's primitive brain for quick decisions and connections for survival in those games.